Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So today we are going to be looking at something that I've been talking about in videos for quite some time. This is something that I ordered all the way back in late 2020. But it's finally here. At least the first half of it is, which I'll go into that in a moment. And it is the Strictly Limited Games Collector's Edition of Turrican. So like I said, this is the first half of what I have to unbox regarding Turrican, because I pre-ordered the Ultra Collectors Edition, which contains sort of your Collector's Edition, plus a whole host of other goodies, including a big figurine, a big Amiga-style box, and a few other bits and pieces here and there. Now, what's happened is the production of the figurine took them longer than expected. So what they said is you could split your order into two. You could get this first, and then the figurine and additional extras afterwards. So that's kind of what I did, because I kind of wanted the game to play and have a look at. And like I said, it's finally here. At least the first half of it is. So what they did is they sent me this. And there are also a few little goodies in here, which were kind of a bit of a thank you for waiting. The first of which is this, which is a bonus CD with 3 tracks on. And I'll go through the rest as we open the box now. But first of all, for the uninitiated, what is Turrican? So Turrican is a retro game. Well, it is a retro game now, obviously. It is a game that was, well, it's a game franchise that was first released in 1990 for the C64. It was developed by, I'll just get my notes here, developed by Manfred Trenz, released by Rainbow Arts. Like I say, originally for the C64, it was then ported to the Amiga and other platforms such as the Atari ST, most commonly under the name of Factor 5. They're the sort of developer that you associate with the Turrican franchise. So Turrican released, and it was a success. People loved the C64 version. It kind of did things graphically and audio-wise that people didn't necessarily think was possible. The Amiga port released to critical acclaim as well. It was, of course, then followed up by a sequel in 1991 titled Turrican 2, because what else would you call the sequel? And then that was followed up by a smorgasbord of games, a hell of a lot more, actually. Just going through the list here, and you'll see, I'll try and put footage in as we're going through, but in 1992 there was a NES port called Super Turrican that was just released and developed by Manfred Trenz, and that was kind of based on levels of Turrican 1 and 2. Perhaps confusingly, in 1993, you got a SNES version of Turrican that was called Super Turrican, alongside a Mega Drive version of the franchise called Mega Turrican, which was then ported to the Amiga and released as Turrican 3. In 1995 you got Super Turrican 2 on the SNES, and then the franchise has kind of laid dormant. There have been attempts to make subsequent games in the series, a 3D Turrican called Turrican 3D, which was cancelled by THQ. The reasons kind of cited were THQ were kind of, favouring profitability rather than, making a good game. You can say what you will about that era. But then there was also meant to be a game released by Factor 5 called Fornado, which was Turrican in name only because there were issues with the rights to it. Nothing that I could find really exists of these games. Fornado was originally slated for the N64, then moved on to the GameCube. It was never released, it was cancelled, but some assets from it, I believe soundtrack and art assets, were kind of reused in Factor 5's Star Wars Rebel Strike. Now, like I said, the franchise is kind of laying dormant. There's been a release for it on the WiiWare platform, but not really anything until 2020, when Strictly Limited Games kind of brought the franchise back, and there was this Turrican Flashback collection released for modern day platforms, which is what we are looking at today. So Strictly Limited got the rights to it, and they released a number of collections for it. A bog standard collection, which was just sort of the games across 2 anthology collections. Then they would release sort of versions of Mega Turrican and Super Turrican and the variation of the soundtrack. Then you got a collector's edition, which is what we'll be opening at the moment. And then there was the Ultra Collector's Edition, which, like I mentioned, is the one that I ordered, but has been split into 2 different shipments due to manufacturing delays. This was originally meant to come out sort of the middle of 2021, but there were delays to it because of manufacturing issues, the aforementioned figurine, and also as regards the games themselves, they actually went back and did a number of add-ons, which I will discuss when we get to looking at the games themselves. So that kind of halted the development, and it's kind of the usual story with these things. I don't necessarily think there's ever been, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't necessarily think there's been one of these sort of limited edition games released by any company that has released on time, because game development and manufacturing issues, especially over the last 2 years. But enough preamble, let's open up the box. So this is the box the collector's edition comes in. It's a lovely black box with the logo across it. It opens. What more do you want? So we'll talk about some of the sort of additional things they added. First thing was this, which was sort of a letter from them to us. You can see it's got the main sort of character on, the logo there, and on the back it's got sort of a thing explaining what happened here. So it just says, you know, after 30 years of the franchise being around, 2 years of fine-tuning everything, they're happy that we're able to finally receive the anthology. And just sort of saying, as we kept the pre-orders open for all this time, they offered us a little bonus package, which is this CD with 3 tracks on that have been mastered by the soundtrack creator, the musician who created this, who composed the soundtrack, Chris Hulsbeck, who, as I'll talk about Turrican, the one thing really noted about it is the soundtrack is incredible. It's known for having an amazing soundtrack. But it just says, there's 3 tracks on here created by different musical masterminds, and there's also a reversible poster and some postcards. So here are your postcards. I'll get you a good look at that. So you get kind of an action shot, aliens, the Turrican main character. There's the other one. Kind of what you'd expect from a front cover. And here's the other one here. Again, kind of action shot of the main character. Your reversible poster, which I'm holding upside down. And there's one side, which we kind of saw on the postcard. And that's the other side, which again, you saw on the postcard. This is the box it comes in. So I think if you watch my Clockwork Aquario unboxing, you see that these boxes are absolutely lovely, very, very sturdy. It's got your kind of magnetic latch on there. So we got the front of it, the side telling you what it is, and on the back, just your listing of all of the titles that are included in the anthology and your usual stuff. So what you get with the 2 anthologies is you get Turrican 1, Turrican 2, Super Turrican, Super Turrican Director's Cut, Mega Turrican, something got Mega Turrican Score Attack, Turrican 3, Mega Turrican Director's Cut, Super Turrican 2, and Super Turrican Score Attack. So you get, let me just reckon that up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games here, and some variations of the Super and Mega Turrican games. And before we delve into that a bit more, something that I really love this, but you get a absolutely lovely hardback art book. Now, I've had a lot of collector's editions over the years and limited editions where you get art books, and sometimes it's just like quite a standard sort of flimsy art book with a few things. It's gorgeous to have like a really nice hardback art book here. See how solid it is. I don't know why I needed to knock on it to emphasise it, but what you get, it's an art book. Your table of contents, telling you what's in there. So going through each of the games, got an introduction there. But it's not just like focusing on the art, it talks about the development of the games, the history of them all. I absolutely adore seeing stuff like this. You get a sprite sheet of the Turrican main character running. And it shows you like the cover, the map. And I won't show too much in it. And this is quite interesting as it goes on. I was talking earlier about the attempts to bring it back, but I didn't know from doing my initial research there was a PlayStation 3 port planned called Project Cyclone. But yeah, and there's some art in here of that. But it is an absolutely lovely hardback art book, and I won't go through all of it because we could be here all day just looking at each individual one. But let's have a look at what's inside this collector's edition box itself. So like I say, I'm going to do another video when the rest of the goodies arrive, because there'll be a lovely big statue with that, as well as the kind of Amiga hardback book. So what you get in here, so first of all, when you open it up, you've got like a section of the level here, which is great. So first of all, you get these like solid sort of, I want to say coasters, but I would not use these as a coaster. They're just like really lovely sort of like, I don't know what you call them. They're not coasters, but they are really nice. They're still in the foil at the moment, but so just displays some of the artwork there. I guess it's like plastic cards, plastic art cards. And then that one. You get a lovely signed postcard. You get the Turrican documentary, which is about an hour and 40 minutes long, talking about the history of the games, the prototypes. I got a chop listing on the back. And there's some bonus long plays from World of Long Plays. So that's like a nice little Blu-ray that'll talk about the development process and such. You get a sticker sheet showing various sprites from the game. You get, so I can get it out of there, you get one. This might be best, I'll intersperse the footage there, but one big double-sided poster. And on the other side, yeah, look at he's very angry, isn't he? Very, very angry. I made that fatal mistake where I unfold it. I can never fold them back up in the right way. Very hard when you're making a video about it all. You also get another poster, which again is double-sided. There's a lot of anger in that one. I love this sort of that sort of early 90s Amiga artwork. And of course, you get your two games themselves. So you get two discs here. The Turrican Anthology 1, which comprises Turrican, Turrican 2, Super Turrican, Super Turrican Director's Cut, and Mega Turrican Score Attack. And there's just the game, and it says a manual, but it's quite a short booklet. I mean, you get so much in there already. And the Turrican Anthology 2, which is Turrican 3, Mega Turrican Director's Cut, Super Turrican 2, and Super Turrican Score Attack. And it's very much the same in there. Your disc and your manual with sort of the basic controls. So that is an absolutely lovely box set. I'm genuinely happy with that. Obviously it was a long time coming, but, you know, these things happen. I try not to get... Something I've kind of tried not to get too mad about these sort of things as time goes on, because, you know, a lot of stuff happens in the world, and at the end of the day, yes, you pay a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's a video game, and it has came eventually. But let's have a look at the games themselves. So we've kind of had a look at what you get here, but what about the games themselves? So I won't go into each one by one, but one of the things that did hold up this was the development of the game and additional features. So let's just take a look and see what additional things were added. So as far as additional things go, you do get quite a lot. A lot of it is your sort of usual stuff you might get in these sorts of retro re-releases. You get, you know, wallpapers to display in the background. You get different display options, whether you want it to be full screen, 4:3, 16:9, that kind of thing. You also get some audio options here, kind of choosing between like enhanced audio, the regular audio, so on and so forth. The other big additions with the Turrican collection, however, which sometimes you don't always get in these sorts of retro re-releases, is that I guess they've kind of recognised that these games, being released when they were and the platforms they were on, they could be quite tough at times. Obviously, difficulty, you know, is a bit of a subjective thing. What one person finds difficult, another person might find easy. We see this sort of discussion all the time in modern day when it comes to things like the Soulsborne genre. But you do get a series of cheats you can unlock here, and the game even tells you how to unlock cheats in Turrican. When you boot it up, it says, you know, if you get to the high score, put in the name Bluesmobile, and you will get these bonuses to play with. But where it says if you beat the game once, you can unlock like cheats to play with, infinite lives, infinite time, so on and so forth. Quite interestingly, the other two big additions, one which I am a fan of when I've played other retro re-releases, is the rewind functionality. So you go on, you make a mistake, you hit, like in this case, I think it's like L1, sorry, and you do, like, you can rewind up to a certain point. Say you fall into a pit of spikes, or you do something really daft, you just rewind it and it goes back to that point. That's really beneficial, really like that. The other thing that I'd add, and this is apparently the thing that took them quite a bit of time to add, was this map functionality. So you press R3, and it opens up a map of where you have been so far, what you've uncovered. And again, this is quite beneficial because the idea of Turrican is a sort of, it's a run and gun kind of game, but also sort of a, it's not quite a Metroidvania, I guess, because it's not quite as deep as a Metroidvania, but it is still quite open-ended. There's a lot of places to go, a lot of secrets to uncover. So having a sort of map to help you get back to where you were before, incredibly useful, especially with some of the later levels where, you know, there's a lot of options of where to go. So that's just some of the additional things you might get, well, you do get with the enhanced versions of the game. So there you have it, a quick look at what you will get in the Turrican Ultra Collectors Edition. Of course, like mentioned, this is the first sort of part of it. I'm still waiting for more stuff to arrive, hopefully later this month, so the follow-up video won't take too long. But it is a really, really lovely box set, and it's good for me because I never had these games on the Amiga growing up. They're ones I always heard of, and I've played them you know, as time's gone on via emulation app, but it's nice to have like a legal way to play them. It's nice to sort of have them with a few modern conveniences. You know, things like the rewind feature are really, really beneficial. The auto map is really, really handy. But yeah, hopefully this kind of encourages you to check these games out yourself. Obviously, you know, maybe you're not... Well, I do actually think, unfortunately, the Ultra Collector's Edition is sold out now. But, I mean, you can still get the standard editions on the Strictly Limited Games website, and you can get these games digitally as well. So if you do check them out, or if you were a fan of the franchise, or have even bought this, do let me know in the comments. Do hit me up on social media about it. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. It's always really appreciated. Like I say, go follow me on social media. Go check out my Twitch channel because I'm probably planning to stream some of these in the future. It's links will be in the description. And yeah, like I said, leave a like, leave a comment, do subscribe, do check me out on social media and Twitch. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I shall see you again in a future video. Goodbye.